You came downstairs for breakfast because housemaid Lee called you. You really didn't want to come, but then she said Jungkook is downstairs, and if you refused, he himself will come. When you walked in, Jungkook smirked at you while you rolled your eyes and pulled out a chair for yourself before sitting on it. What would you like to have, Mrs. John? This name was really irritating your ears. You looked at her. Mrs. Lee, I would appreciate if you called me by my name itself. She looked towards Jungkook a bit nervous. It's okay, I'll take it by myself. She nodded and stepped back. You checked the food and everything was something that you don't like to eat. You scrunched your nose and closed the lid of last serving pot. What happened, Mrs.? Why is she? You don't like anything? You looked at her. It's okay, I'm not even in a mood to eat. I'll be fine. You got up to leave but then heard his voice. Sit back. You looked at him. He then ordered Mrs. Lee without shifting his gaze from you. Mrs. Lee, serve her. Mrs. Lee looked at you with pity, but since she can't go against Jungkook's order, she came forward and served you vegetable salad and sandwich. Sit back and eat. I'm not hungry. You rolled your eyes and stepped outside the table to leave, but Jungkook got up and grabbed your hand before making you sit. A gasp left from your mouth and you looked at him with wide eyes. He looked at housemaid Lee and other servants who were there and signed them to leave. They all immediately left. Leave my hand. You tried to get up, but he again made you sit. Don't test my patience when I'm being nice. Now I understood why Nicole ran away. She must have seen this ugly and dominating side of you. He smiled and brushed your hair back while you turned your face to the other side. He grabbed your chin and made you look at him before leaning closer to your face. Believe me, I would never want to hurt an innocent and beautiful woman like you. Don't force me. You both looked in each other's eyes with anger and another with satisfaction. You came downstairs after staying inside your room the whole day. Now you started to get afraid of Jungkook a little bit. You know that if you don't want to make your life hell, then you should stay away from him as much as possible. You came in the living room where housemaid Lee was doing her work. She turned back when she noticed you. Do you want something, Ryan? You looked at her and walked near. No, can I help you in some work? She looked at you surprised. Why would you do any work? We are here. It's okay, I like to do something. I'm really bored sitting all day. I can understand Ryan, but Jungkook won't like it if he hear that you do work. Mrs. Lee, can I ask you something? She looked confused. Sure. She sighed. Did my sister used to come here? She looked a bit confused by a question. Your sister? Yes, Nicole. Jungkook must have taken her here few times before their marriage. She was puzzled. Nicole, I'm sorry, but I never heard this name. And why would Jungkook take her here when you are the one who was getting married to him? Weren't you? This time it was your turn to get confused but surprised at the same time. Me? She nodded. Yes, everyone knew that you are the one Jungkook was getting married to, and all this designing of room and everything was specially made for you. No, how can it be possible? Because I replaced my sister at the aisle, because my sister, who was supposed to marry Jungkook, ran away on the day. What? We never heard of that. We only know that you are the one who's getting married to Jungkook. That's why no one was surprised. What the hell he planned? You whispered to yourself. Are you okay? You flinched slightly and looked at her. Yes, I'm fine. You walked away from there. You walked around the mansion trying to figure out what actually Jungkook had planned and why Mrs. Lee said she never heard about Nicole because you're the one Jungkook was planning to marry from the start. You found a hallway which led you to this area of house. It means it was his plan from the start. Then why Nicole ran away without saying anything? Or maybe he kidnapped her? Yes, it can be possible that he forced her to run so that he would execute his plan. Now I can't pretend like I don't know anything. I have to find out why he planned all this way when he wanted to marry me. You were walking on the edge of the pool while lost in your thoughts, and unfortunately, you slipped and fell in the pool. You started to throw your hands because you don't know how to swim. You called for help, but there was no one to listen to you. Jungkook came to Mrs. Lee when he didn't find you anywhere. Where is Vian? She was wandering around the house. I think she went to the backyard. Backyard? A servant spoke in middle. I saw Vian ma'am going towards the swimming pool. He didn't waste a second and walked away. Your body started to feel weak as you got tired, and because so much water has gotten inside your mouth, you started to lose your consciousness, but not fully. Fortunately, Jungkook walked in by the time and he jumped inside the pool when he saw you drowning. He swam you to the surface and carefully laid you on the floor. Don't close your eyes. Your eyes were getting heavy, but you could see his blurry figure. He pressed his palm against your chest to get that water out of your mouth. Ryan, can you hear me? He again pressed, making you cough out a lot of water. He patted your back. You okay? He picked you up and walked outside. She is fine for now, but can fall sick or complain of headache and upset stomach can come later, as she has swallowed a lot of water from the pool. Make sure to give these medicines on time and take care of her diet. If she can drink milk, it would be great. Call me again if you see something abnormal. Jungkook nodded while the doctor bowed and took his leave. Jungkook closed the door behind him before walking inside. You were sitting on the bed while your eyes and nose were red. You should sleep for some time or else you would feel headache. Why did you play this game and lie to everyone? You sat straight looking at him while he frowned. What game? You get up from the bed and came near him and looked in his eyes fearlessly before speaking. Don't try to become innocent in front of me. Now I know your truth. He chuckled and walked near the bed before sitting on it. Seems like you are absolutely fine. I wonder if you still need these medicines, but doctor has said you might experience some symptoms later, so I guess I have to keep these. You turn and walk near him. Don't change the topic and answer to my question. He looked at you and his eyes turned cold and dark, but now you don't fear him. What do you want to know? Where did you keep my sister and what you have done with her? How do I know where she is? Didn't she run away with her boyfriend? You never wanted to marry her, right? She was never in the news. You just used her to get me. It was all your plan. You could see his lips curling up in a smirk. He got up and started to walk closer to you, closing the gap between both of you. Finally, you got familiar with the truth. So now that you know you are the one I wanted to marry and not your sister, be a good wife. You raised your hand to slap him, but he got you halfway and looked at you. Don't think I would let you do whatever you want just because you're my wife. I have my own ways to show love, but I genuinely don't want to force because I don't like to force someone I love the most. Why did you do that? Why played all that game when you could simply ask me to marry? Where did you send my sister? This time there were tears in your eyes. I did try it, but you were not someone easy to get. The time you denied the proposal, I decided to marry you at any cost. Your father was about to lose his everything, the company, reputation, everything, and was on the verge of bankruptcy. That time I offered him help, but with conditions. I told him I would help if he married his elder daughter to me. And as I thought, your father, being the biggest greedy man alive, didn't even hesitate, and without asking your sister, he promised me that he would get her married to me. Do you think you would prove yourself innocent by blaming everything on my dad? He turned to look at you and smile. Absolutely not. I only care about the things I love and want. I knew your sister already had a boyfriend, so I put this condition in front of her. She doesn't want to live in that house anymore, so my condition was that either we cancel the marriage and she would be caged in that house forever, or we just make it look like an accident where she would be free and I will get what I want. He came near you. Believe me, I had never done this much for anyone, and if I did it for you, it means I love you more than anything. Now the decision is yours. If you still don't want to live, then let's get divorced after 6 months. You could see the disbelief in his eyes. He put the medicines on the table and left from there. You drop yourself on the bed.